Welcome back, Soul Seekers. So excited for today's video. We're leveling up. Are you ready? We're going to connect to our beautiful intuition, to our higher self, but more importantly, this is going to be an advanced practitioner class workshop for mediumship. We're calling in the pros today, and literally, here's how. I'm going to share with you the top 10 things that the pros know. I'm going to share those with you here. I'm also going to share who the pros are. What do they do? What do they do differently, and kind of what they're known for? And then lastly, I'm going to give you 5 things that you can do to work with this gift that we call intuition, our higher self, working with source to connect to spirits on the other side, or maybe more importantly, a loved one who is recently or has crossed over. Are you ready to level up? It's coming up on today's video. Enjoy. Right out of the gate, the number one thing that needs to happen that every pro knows is that our vibration, the reader, needs to be as high as possible. And that is the reason because we're connecting to someone who doesn't have a physical body, right? They're in spirit. They are of a very high vibration. So how else are we going to connect to them? They're going to communicate with us by coming down in vibration, and we have to raise ours to meet them somewhere in the middle. How do you raise your vibration? Gosh, there's so many ways, right? Drinking water, lots of water, meditation, eating clean, resting, right? All those things that make you feel better. Positive thinking, it all starts in the mind, as we know. So the first step that every pro knows is you got to be high vibe in order to do this work. Number 2 is knowing the clairs and working with them and continuing to work with them. Get good at the clairs. If you don't know what the clairs are, oh my gosh, I will tag some videos right up through here and throw them in my cards. The clairs are clairaudience, clairsentience, clear cognitive, right? These are the clairs of knowing, the clairs of seeing, the clairs of hearing, the clairs of feeling, right? We have to refine these. I've had so much of this on my channel where I'm teaching you what the clairs are, but then more importantly, how to work with them. So many people ask the question, can you be more than one? You're always developing them. I didn't hear for 2 years after I started doing readings, and then one day my ear turned on. So it is absolutely something that you need to work with, and you need to know which way you're receiving information. Was it a knowing? Was it a feeling? And so on. So I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you know what the clairs are. But again, watch the videos. If you don't, there's a ton of information on my channel. Number 2 is knowing the clairs and working with them and continuing to work with them. Fabulous boundaries. The pros know what a boundary is, right? They know it with the people they work with. They know what to say, what not to say. They know when working with source, what source would actually say and what source would never say, whether it's coming from the light or something else, okay? But they also have really good boundaries for themselves. They know when it's time to shut it down. They know who to work with, right? So you cannot do this work without good boundaries. In fact, when we get into the part on this video where we're talking about different mediums, they all have phenomenal boundaries. They couldn't possibly be a world-renowned medium without good boundaries. So good boundaries covers so many aspects, but every pro knows it's critical. All pros also have a ritual, something that starts their sessions. It might be a prayer for protection. It might be just a prayer, right? It might be a silent prayer. It might be an intention with the person they're working with. It might be lighting a candle, smudging the room, getting the room set, right? These are all rituals that you can do, but you absolutely should do, especially if you're getting ready to work with people. And I love the idea of saying ritual because what it also means is you're going to be consistent when doing it. You're not going to get to the end of the reading and go, oh my gosh, did I forget to clear the room from the person I was working with prior, right? You're always going to be into that routine. And I will say that having a ritual isn't, it's for you, it's for the client, but more importantly, It's to prepare them, source, for getting ready. Sometimes when you're working with people, I've had spirits show up 2 or 3 days before the person's even in the room. So those rituals kind of call on those spirits and they get them ready and they get them organized. So having a ritual is absolutely for everybody concerned. Next one up, we're talking about having a relationship with your guides, developing a relationship with your guides. Who are your guides, right? This changes and this grows, and you might have some that will always stay with you. If I look back to the 20 years that I've been doing this, I'm assuming it's a swinging door, and that as I've changed and I've learned and I've advanced in my gift, to do this work, that the people that are working with me are also shifting and gift and changing also. So inviting new guides in. I love Sonia Chiquette's work. She talks about it quite a bit. Bring in the joy guides when you need them. Who are the helper guides, the teacher guides? There's all these different guides that you can name. I don't specifically get names, especially when people are asking me who are their guides. I might get energy like they're the teacher, or I might hear that they have a sense of humor, or they're very sarcastic, or this person seems really tall to me. I get characteristics like that, not names, but there's many people who do get names. So when I say know your guides, it's not necessarily knowing their names. It's really how they work with you, when you can call on them. In my situation too, where they show up in the room, why they show up in the room, and who's there to assist me, right? So working with the other person's guides too, right? Having them both integrate together during our session. So this all falls underneath the category of knowing and having a relationship with your guides. Next one is the hardest to explain, and the number one question that I get asked every time. The pros know to trust the information that they're getting. That every information that they're getting from source is important. It might not make any sense to them, or maybe even the sitter at the time that they're giving it, but that it should be given. Now, this doesn't exclude filtering, right? If they think it's inappropriate, or having that sense. But don't forget, we're developing our own little library, and we need to be sensitive that it might not make sense to us, but it makes sense, and their information is there for a reason. I'm going to give you a great example of a session that just happened 2 days ago. I was working with a woman who has been having lots of issues with just not feeling well. And she asked, what can I do in the future to get in a better mental state and to feel better about my health? And I heard very clear St. John's wort. Now I heard it, okay, and I stayed there, and I actually spent time going, what is it? Why is this important? And I couldn't get clarity around it. So this is the way I gave that information. I said, when you asked me that question, I heard, so I let them know how I heard it. I said, I heard the word St. John's wort. Now I want to clarify, I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's for panic attacks. I don't know if it, is for people who are anemic. I never heard it. I don't know what it is, but I did know it was something that was homeopathic, right? So my message to her was, I heard St. John's wort. I want you to know that I don't know if it's to treat what you're feeling, like you need to take it, or if it's a metaphor for going a natural route. But do me a favor and look into it, and you make your own call whether this is something right for you. But whatever you do, make sure you run it by your doctor. Okay. Now, why is that important? I could have just said St. John's wort and sent the woman out the room. If she's on medication, St. John's wort might react with the medication she's already on. And now I'm putting her and myself at risk, filtering and the rest of it. So back to trust, right? You have to trust the information's coming through. You have to give it, but you also have to really give it in a mindful way. So hopefully that example has made my point. And one thing that is the hardest thing is trusting the information. And I've said this so many times on my channel, the wackier, the more I know it's right. Because if I can't define it and I'm not filtering through genie brain and I know it's coming from source, it's going to seem a little out there. So hopefully that'll help you. A little pro tip from me. Let's move on. Number 7, mastering silence, especially in a session. Imagine that all the magic is happening in the pause, in the quiet. Spending time connecting and getting information and then staying there if it's not clear, or asking for more, asking for a way to explain it to your sitter, asking for a metaphor, asking for more information so it makes more sense so that they know it's um, evidence, right? All those things happen in the silence, they happen in the pause. It's only feeling quiet, I guess, to you and to the person who might be sitting with you in the room. But trust me, there is so much going on in the silence, and pros know that. Let's get to number 8. The next one's beautiful. It is understanding symbolism. I call this your own intuitive Pictionary or dictionary for doing this work. You will have your own experiences in doing this work. You will have your own energy and understanding. Remember, everyone is different, right? So the way you see something is different than the way I see it. That comes to mind, if you look behind me, I've got the moon and the sun, right? The sun for me, like tarot, means everything to do with joy. If I see the sun show up when I'm working with somebody, I know the message is joy. If I see the moon, because that's in my dictionary, right? That's my symbol for the darkness in somebody, right? So there could be a million other symbolism in the moon with the tarot, just using these two as an example. But for me, those are my symbols. So every good pro reader has their own symbolism, has their own intuitive dictionary. And this is something that you can work with in a journal. But the message here is you need one, and you need to know what they mean when they show up. And it's forever growing. We're feeding that dictionary because we're being mindful of how the information is coming through, and we're keeping track of it for ourselves and for others down the road. Moving on. Number 9, document everything. However you want to document these things are great. You can record your sessions so you can hear them after you're doing this work. You can learn a little bit more about how you receive information and what you sound like when you're giving it out. You'll learn so much about how you do this. You can keep a journal. You can keep track. You can put it in your calendar, right? You can write down your dictionary library as things expand. And so the idea is that we're not just doing this work and not being mindful of how we're doing this work. We're working with our guides. I've always said our guides work with us. They will send you the lessons when you're ready to learn them, right? So keeping track of that in some way so you can commit it to memory will only assist you and the clients that you're looking to serve. The pros know this. Last one, number 10. Let's do it. Stay grounded and stay in your body. When I look to the pros, I will absolutely acknowledge and recognize that you cannot do this work unless you're in your body, even though we're totally connected to source. When I think of the readers that I've witnessed or seen on the street or at the fairs, you know what I mean by that, right? At the psychic fairs, I don't, when I see them not tethered in any way and they're just giving information that's all up in the clouds, literally, because they're not grounded, um, I am clearing the room, right? So you're here to help people get in their body. You're not here to help people float away. So your job to stay grounded is also to help the person who's gone through the trauma or is asking to make a connection or, is feeling lost in their space, that you want them to get them back into their body so that they can heal. They need a physical body in order to do that. So this work is so based on being in your physical body to receive it. Oh, I hope you heard that. Next up, we're going to share the amazing teachers that are out there. In doing this video, I actually found two that I didn't even know about. So I quickly subscribed to them and I'm going to dive deeper in because I'm always looking to learn from the pros. So today I'm going to share two kind of categories. I'm going to share the teaching intuition component, and then I'm also going to share the top mediums from around the world so that you have them all in front of you and you kind of know what they're known for and you know what makes them the pro. Okay, I'm not going to go into great detail, but I am going to give you their names and kind of what they're known for so you can do a deeper dive for yourself. And James Van Praagh, absolutely an amazing teacher, known for bridging the gap between the living and the deceased. And he does this with such compassion and absolute clarity. He's got an amazing YouTube channel, so follow it. And his famous book is Talking to Heaven, with so many others he's authored. And here's a blast from the past, right? John Edward, known for hosting his show Crossing Over with John Edward, and his phenomenal book, Develop Your Psychic Intuition to Take Charge of Your Life. Next up in the medium world, we have Lisa Williams, known for her international tours and detailed evidence-based readings. Her famous book is Survival of the Soul. And then Gordon Smith, known for his nickname, the Psychic Barber, and being one of UK's most accurate mediums. And his favorite book is The Unbelievable Truth. Lastly, at the bottom of the slide, I wanted you to connect to who I consider more the intuitive side of the mediumship work. Carolyn Mice, Sonia Chiquette, John Howland, and Christina Lopes. A slide is not up on her, but I think she's phenomenal. Suzanne Cheeseman, I will link her information in the description and in my show notes. All of these are phenomenal teachers with tons of books and a great YouTube presence. So please check them all out. The one that I'm not a fan of and I'm comfortable saying is the Long Island Medium. And it has everything to do with boundaries. And if you know anything about me, you know I'm kind of a stickler about boundaries. And I think her whole persona is that she doesn't have any. So that's how she makes her money. And I'm okay with her doing that. It's just, I'm not a fan. So don't kill the messenger. Let's get back to the video. Please look all of these up. Phenomenal teachers. This is my favorite part of the video because you're going to get 5 fun things to do for yourself to make the connection to a loved one on the other side or to play with spirits. Are you ready? Number 1 is sitting quiet in memory lane. So what are you going to do? Go into a room, a quiet room where you will not be disturbed. Simply turn off the lights or close your eyes, light a candle, right? Get into the space where it's just going to be you and this loved one in spirit. When you get there, call up a time or a memory and don't get all projecting about this. Just, you might be thinking, well, of course it's going to be the time we got ice cream, but a beach trip might show up, right? Whatever comes to mind, just let it. And then I will beg you to lean into that moment and just be with that loved one. Maybe it's them coming through. Maybe it's not you projecting, right? This is your time to totally connect with them. But don't just connect, right? Look around you. What time of year was it? What are you wearing? What is the weather like, right? What does it feel like? Get into the emotion of it. What was said and not said? What could be said? What could be heard, right? This is an opportunity for you to, in a way, relive it. And what you will find is that's exactly what will happen. That spirit will come right in and be with you in that moment. And you'll be surprised at what happens and what shows up. If it doesn't happen the first time you did it, come back to this exercise. Once they know they're calling on you, and you're calling on them, the magic is amazing. So enjoy that moment with your loved one. That's exercise 1. Fun connection number 2, music. I'm sure everybody has a song that connects you to their loved one. And let me have this make more sense. Have you ever been driving down the road and you hear a song from when you were in high school, and all of a sudden you're back in the gym dancing with that guy you had a crush on, right? Because the song just takes you back to that moment. Same thing happens in spirit, right? So playing that song that connects you to them does just that. So that is a great way to make a connection. But also, there's another way to do this. Don't just go through life not paying attention to the music that's around you, like in the grocery store, and you're contemplating a question and you're wondering what your life's going to be like tomorrow or what the right answer is, and all of a sudden you hear a song that totally answers that question, right? Connecting with music is another absolute way that spirit will connect with you, but that you can connect with spirit, not just for a loved one, but even for information. I love that. Have fun with this one. Enjoy the music. Number 3 is writing them a letter. Sit down and say what you think didn't get said. If it did get said, say it again in a letter, right? Write them a love letter, write them an apology letter, right? Write them just, hey, wondering how you're doing letter. When you finish writing this letter of connection, just simply sit in the room with your eyes closed and ask for a response. You'll be amazed at what shows up, right? Also, writing a letter helps you process some of these thoughts and feelings. I've also told people in sessions, there's never a stone that gets left unturned. And what that means is spirit has a way of working through this stuff with you, whether you're here or they're here or not, right? So writing a letter truly is that connection to help you kind of put a period at the end of the sentence, pun intended. Number 4, dream visits. Invite your loved one, invite your spirit to come in and meet you in your dreams. And I jokingly say this, it's important that you write it down. Although, if you've ever had a dream visit, you know that there's no way you would ever forget it because they're so vivid. And the first thing about a dream visit is it's not a dream, it's an actual visit. The person is standing there right in front of you. So my request to you is to invite them. If you haven't had a dream yet about your loved one, maybe what they're really missing is the invitation. And trust me, they will show up and you will make a connection. The last one is to light a candle and ask for the connection. And this one is very dear and near to my heart. I have a special candle that I burn on my daughter's birthday and on my daughter's anniversary. And if I'm feeling a little blue one day, I might pull out the candle and just light it to connect with her. So that's the way I do this. But again, for you, you can actually have a candle made just for them. Buy a candle, put their date, their birthday, put the date they died, whatever connects you to them, maybe a special date, your anniversary, right? That really matters. But the point is, it's like having a ritual just for them. When you look at the candle and you're having time with that candle in that energy, again, be mindful and kind of let them come in and ask questions around it, right? As you smell the lavender, right? Is there anything that you need me to know or anything that you want to share with me or share something that's going on in your life with them? They very much want to feel connected as much as you want to feel connected. But remember, they're not feeling the separation like you are because they're right there. Hey, that's today's video. Thank you so much for watching. You'll be seeing more videos like this in 2025, really looking to connect to you deeply and make a deeper connection to this work. If that's what you're interested in, I will see you next video. Bye for now. Namaste.